Unesco's 4 Pillars of Education of the 21st Century, Teaching and Learning. Good day, everyone, classmates, most especially to our dearest instructor, Mr. Aventuna. So, we are the Group 1, first topic presenter of the Unesco's 4 Pillars of Education of the 21st Century, Teaching and Learning. Later, after all our discussions, we will give you some scenarios in which you will answer or identify what pillar is being described. So let us lend our ears for this reporting, for it will help you in the future as future educators. So before we will begin our discussion, we want you to be reminded with these words of wisdom. Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love with what you are doing or learning to do. Words of wisdom from Pelé, Brazilian football legend. Like for instance, we as future educators who will take the licensure exam for teachers, but you're not studying, you're not sacrificing, you're not loving what you do, you're not loving your reviews for let, then if you're aiming to pass, you must pay attention to all your efforts, hard works. Kay ang success, di jud na siya aksidente. Imo gina siyang gipaninguhaan, imo siyang gitanom. Kay ngano, you need to have the perseverance. You must start it now, put it in your heart. Kay puhon-puhon, kung mudako na ang imong natanom, ang imuhang na-learn, imo na nang maipuhon with success and achievements. Nga mahimong usa ka professional teacher. So without further ado, let's start. The 4 pillars of learning the 21st century. A desire to learn continuously through one's lifetime is a mark of a 21st century learner. The International Commission on Education for the 21st Century to the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, known as UNESCO, headed by Jacques Delors, identified learning throughout life as a key to meet the challenges of the 21st century. The Commission's 1996 report, Learning, the Treasure Within, highlighted the need for individuals to learn how to learn. So, why do we need to have the necessary skills for the 21st century? So, all of those pillars of education will help us to learn how to learn. In other words, learning how to learn are the necessary skills to cope up with the rapid changes and challenges of the present and the future. So, all of those will help you to become effective, to become lifelong learners. So, what is lifelong learning? Lifelong learning is a philosophy in which involves the development of knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values throughout one's life. Gikan sa imong childhood throughout sa imong pagdako adulthood. Ang learning walay kahumanan. Mupay pag-ingon sa mga ubang maestra kaniadto. Learning doesn't stop. Learning never stop as you grow. Dili ra kay sa 4 corners of the classroom makat-on ka. But also we learn from everything and everyone. Mogali nga sa ilang pag-ingon nga no man is an island. Moving forward, so I will be giving you the overviews of the 4 pillars of education. First is learning to know. Second is learning to do. Third is learning to live together. And lastly is learning to be. So, As you can see, it seems like they are just one. They're the same, learning. Pero later on, together with my group presenters, we will discuss and elaborate more about the 4 pillars of education. So, let's start with my first discussion, learning to know. So, learning to know, as it is a process of discovery. Nganong process of discovery man si learning to know? First and foremost, learning to know implies learning how to learn by developing one's concentration, focusing on areas, for instance, on a subject or a particular activity, memory skills, and ability to think. Learning to know involves the development of knowledge and skills that are needed to function in the world. And these skills include the 3 examples of the part of the learning to know. First is the literacy. So, unsa man ang literacy? So, we know man nga ang literacy is able to read and write. When we are on our elementary days or way back when we are on daycare, mumadyo na kaniad to daycare sa wala pa kindergarten, we were taught by our titas man tawag sa daycare, how to write letters. Then, the next step, nga ni tungtong naka grade 1, gitudluan ka og pagbasa. And, gitudluan na po ka og pagsuwat. Nga nanay, nga dili na single letters, nanay pares, di ba? Step by step og process ang atuang learning to know. So next is numeracy. So able to count numbers. Oh, we will still taught this. Nga 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, di ba? Importante jud ning numeracy kay ngano, moingon sila di ko na sila ganag math. So I will never deny nga di jud ko ganahan og math. Tinuod jud na di jud ko ganahan og math. Pero ginan jud ko sa akong teacher nga ayaw i-hate ang math. Kung mag-hate manggali ka, i-hate ang teacher nga nagtudlo. Kay ngano, dili kahibaw mo pasulot mo pa sabot sa inyo ha. Mao nang di ka ganag math. Ang math is imura na siyang saghuon, imura nang katunon unsaon pag-solve. Dipindi ra jud na sa pag-deliver sa teacher. So mora to, chika, galore. So muna ang numeracy ha, able to count numbers on mathematical equations, mathematical formulas. And lastly, ang critical thinking. So critical thinking is able to analyze and evaluate. So you are able to, for instance, is kanang magbasa kag libro. So gamiton nimo imong critical thinking kay nay mga words anas sa libro nga dili nimo dayon-dayon nga mabasa. So imo i-analyze, imong evaluate ang usa ka word. So dapat magkuan jud ka, magtamod jud ka na dictionary, di ba? So mo na siya ang for example sa critical thinking. So mo na siya ang mga few bedrocks of the kanang processes sa learning to know. Then learning to know helps individuals to develop values and skills for respecting and searching for knowledge and wisdom. Learn to learn. Kat-on gyud sa imong pag-kat-on. Kay once makat-on ka, dali na lang kay nimo ang pag-kat-on sa uban. Kay process man jud ta. The next is acquire a taste for learning throughout life. Then develop critical thinking. Acquire tools for understanding the world. And the second to the last, create a curious mind or learner. And lastly is understand sustainable concepts and issues. So in summary, learning to know helps us with the knowledge, information that needed to work in a globalized society and knowledge economy, to the tools for learning and how to learn, to the independently to acquire. Kay if we are talking to learning to know, Jude, generally, it is about general knowledge. Why? It is because learning to know is more about the accumulation of general knowledge. Tanan, general informations. Because kung wala kay nakatunan or you don't have any knowledge, di jud ka kanang dali nga makaprocess sa usa ka butang, dili ka daling makasabot sa usa ka butang, munang imo jud kat-onon. So you must pay attention on how to put effectively anang learning to know. Dapat imo jung i-discipline imong kaugalingon nga dapat makat-on jud ka sa kabutang aron dili ka magkalisod pon. So mao ra jud na ang atong hinumduman ni learning to know nga naga-include siya 3 skills examples: literacy, numeracy, and critical thinking. So that's all. Let's move forward to the second presenter of the 4 pillars of education.
So now let us proceed to the second pillar of education, which is learning to do. Learning to do, it describes putting knowledge and learning into practice innovatively through skill development and practical know-how. Development of competence, life skills, personal qualities, aptitudes, and attitudes. So in skill development, we need to develop our skills. Of course, in our specialization or in our chosen field of work. So I am a student of Bachelor and Technical Vocational Teacher Education, major in garments, fashion, and design. So I need to develop my skills in terms of cutting, pattern making, sketching, and of course sewing. So practical know-how, so it is the ability to do something smoothly and efficiently, so you can do or finish a specific task on time. So development of competence, so a skillful and knowledgeable individual is considered as a job ready. So he or she can be globally competent. So life skills, so we already know the basic life skills, so we only need to adapt and apply it to ourselves. So just like such as good decision and problem solving skills. So personal qualities, we already have our qualities, so we need this one is what we need when we apply for work. We need to bring our best qualities in order to fit in to the standards that a job position needs. Aptitude, so aptitude is the ability of someone, the natural ability of someone to do something. So it is somewhat like talent, so or skill. So if you have the talent or that skills, you only need to improve that in order to master it. So you can apply or use it when you need it. So attitudes is very important. So having a good attitude is what we need when we are in the field of work. So we need a good attitude to work with others together, to be productive and efficient worker. So learning to live do involves the acquisition of skills that are often linked to occupational success, such as computer training, managerial training, and apprenticeships. So as a student of Bachelor of Technical Vocational Teacher Education, major in garments, fashion, and design, I need to practice my skills in my specialization in terms of sketching, sewing, cutting, pattern making, and many more, so that I will be job ready. So when I will graduate, I won't get myself exhausted to look for a job because I am job ready. All things considered, the new forms of personal competence are based on a body of theoretical and practical knowledge, personal dynamism, good problem solving, decision making, innovative, and team skills. So I think in this pillar of education, you need to obtain these qualities because it is the most essential part of it. So it is clear that technical and vocational education and training, or TVET, needs to encompass all four pillars of learning in order to prepare the individual with the knowledge, skills, qualities, values, attitudes, and abilities to communicate effectively and work together productively with others. So learning to do is anchored in the context of lifelong learning and TVET in preparation for life and the world of work. So with TVET, it helps an individual to be job ready.
Hi, I am ATAMOSA, and I will be discussing the learning to live together, which is the third pillar of education. So what is learning to live together? So learning to live together sa Binisaya pa pakipag or paghalubilo sa uban nga tao kung unsaon pakipag-interact sa uban nga tao. So learning to live together, it is one of the most vital to building a culture of peace throughout the world. So mao ni siya bali pundasyon siya nga nang naay ang mahimo nga naay peace ang usa or ang ato ang nation. So unsaon ni siya pag-achieve? Unsaon pag-achieve nga naay peace? So diri na mo gawas ang diri itudlo sa usa ka educator unsaon nila unsaon ari itudlo nga masabtan sa usa ka estudyante or individual ang ilang tradisyon sa uban nga tao, ilang kultura, ilang religion o uban pa. So learning to live together in peace and harmony is a dynamic, holistic, and lifelong process through which the shared values are internalized and practiced. So there is a learning to live together, bali arit po diri i-build ang maayo nga pamatasan, ari i-practice nga naay maayong pamatasan ang usa ka estudyante. The process begins, or usa ka individual. The process begins with the development of inner peace in the minds and hearts of individual engaged in the search for truth, knowledge, and understanding. So by that, so diri sa learning to live together, ang usa ka educator is kanang dako kayo siya og rules aron ma-build ang usa ka estudyante or usa ka individual. Kay diri bali mahimong ang isa ka educator is mahimo siyang guide sa estudyante aron nga sa estudyante nga nangita sa kamatuoran sa kanang or sa mga pagsabot sa sa lahi-lahi nga tao. Learning to live together, it involves the development of social skills and values such as first, respect and concern for others, paghatag og respetar o paghatag og bilis sa uban. Second is the social and interpersonal skills, and the third is an appreciation of the diversity of the world, paghatag og bilis sa pagkalahi-lahi sa kalibutan. So education should adapt to complementary approach from early childhood. So the first is it should focus on the discovery of other people. So ang first nga kanang dapat nga complementary approaches is first is the discovery of other people, which means nga ang usa ka educator is magtudlo sa pupils or estudyante about human diversity, pagkalahi-lahi sa tao. I-instill nila ang maestra or ang isa ka educator is mo hatag og i-instill ang awareness of the similarities and interdependence of all people. Some subjects lend themselves these. The children should also be taught sa discovery of other people ang usa ka estudyante. So kinahanglan siya nga kanang tudluan sa pagsabot sa uban nga tao sa ilahang pagkalahi-lahi. Sa pagkalahi-lahi, like for example na ilahang kultura, ilahang tradisyon, ilahang kanang mga beliefs. So the second stage of education in a lifelong education is it should encourage involvement of common project. So, example of common project is ang pag-renovate yung mga slum areas, sa mga pagtabang sa mga senior citizen. So, ang first stage is discovery of other people. So, mag-discover ka sa lain nga tao. Pagsabot, ilahang sabton ang uban nga tao. And the second stage is ang pag-encourage. So, bali ang usa ka educator is encourage nila ang usa ka estudyante nga mo kay pag interact na sa uban nga tao. Bali mo help sila sa pakipag bring og peace sa ato ang world, sa atong society, sa atong
Hello
nation.
everyone, good day. I'm Grace BIHAG, the last presenter of this group. The topic I'm going to tackle is learning to be. What is learning to be? Learning to be is all around development of the whole person to fulfill his or her highest potential and able to think, decide, and act independently, the source of creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. The aim of development is the complete fulfillment of man and all richness of his personality, the complexity of his form of expression, and his various commitment as individual, member of a family, and of a community, citizen, and producer, inventor of techniques, and creative dreamer. So, learning to be diha nato mag-molds ang ato potential nga think, decide, and act independently. Dili lang sa independently by the source of creative way, innovation, or entrepreneurship. Dili lang sa kana ma-molds po ang ato or ma-improve pa nga ato skills nga ato gusto makabot, like ato skills, knowledge, and talent, and behavior also. So na muna siyang ang learning to be nga ma-develop ang ato pagka gusto nato maabot nga unsa ta. Learning to be involves activity that foster personal development, body, mind, and spirit, and contribute creativity, personal discovery, and appreciation of inherent value provided by this pursuit. Skills include creativity and personal discovery acquiring through reading the internet, activities such as sports and art. So, mata ko giingon kaganina na dili lang sa mapursu at makuha na nga tukuan sa ato man and spirit, body and spirit. So, example aning learning to be student or working student. So, working student ang working student siya gibuhat niya ang gusto niya mabuhat para lang sa iyang kagaling, para sa iyang study or mapursu at ang iyang study. Working student can support and provide by his own through her skills, knowledge, commitment to finish her or his study na by independently kana wala siya gasalig sa uban or sa iya parents, pero gibuhat niya by her or his own para lang makabot iya ang gusto maabot. So, therefore, learning to be is that to develop ourselves or ourselves into a complete one that we want to be.
And to sum up all the discussions, here's a little review for you to remember some of the key points of the 4 pillars of education. First is learning to know. We all know that we are talking to the acquisition of knowledge, analyzation, and critical thinking in understanding the world. And when we're talking to learning to do, which is acquisition of acquired knowledge, skills, job, and innovation. Moving forward to the learning to be, it is the holistic development, self-identity, and self-fulfillment. And lastly, to the learning to live together, representation of people holding, respecting one another, understanding and respecting differences. And that's all for the 4 pillars of education from the Unesco's.